we don't have any more space. There's no more space. We had, and it's like, I'm sorry, I was not in the district in May.
This is not something that's uncommon. It's also not uncommon in our community. We have newcomers all the time.
Right.
It should be something that's figured out.
My grandfather was the governor of one of states in Ecuador, my great-grandfather.
Have those people who will sit down and say calmly, this is what it is. We understand that it's complicated. We understand that it's difficult. But it's important to understand it if you want to understand what classes to take. Hello, everyone. My name is Fernanda Martinez-Donaus. I am the Executive Director of Real Progress, and you are here today on another episode of Real Progress, the podcast. Today, our guest is someone I'm really excited to have on. She is a community manager at Crosshatch, as well as a really engaged parent who's here to share a little bit about what she's learned navigating the school system with her children. So, Sofia, welcome.
Thank you.
Would you tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do, as in whatever way you want to define that?
Perfect. Thank you for having me. Hello, everyone. I'm Sofia Mera. I'm a mother of four, moved to Brownsville in 2019. I am a medical interpreter by profession. That's my second one. And my third one is I have a bachelor's in business administration and finance, and which I have not used. I became a mom, and then I decided to take a job that gave me the flexibility to raise my children at home and do a job versus being 8 hours at work.
Yeah.
So that's who I am.
Okay. And I think you do use some of those skills probably in other things you do.
I think I use all this. You use all these skills during life, and when you're a mom, you use many skills. But I'm not doing it as a profession
at a professional level
itself. I did do the medical interpreter. I got a diploma through the University of Minnesota, and then I got my national certification because that one was a flexible job in the sense that I was not an employee. I was just supplemental, and I could pick my hours. I love that job because it complied to things that I love to do. I do help people communicate in both ways, the doctor with the patient with the doctor, and I can advocate for people because we come from different cultures, and it's hard for a doctor to understand what a person from Mexico believes or thinks about diseases. And so I felt as an advocate besides working as an interpreting, which I love. And this move also for the schools, which I did too as a volunteer many times.
Okay, so you also, and by interpreter, you mean language interpreter, right?
Yes, translating Spanish to English, English to Spanish.
It's a really important role, especially in our community here. And I know you're not originally from Brownsville, but you said you moved here in 2019?
To Brownsville, and I am originally from Ecuador, South America, and I moved to the United States 30 years ago.
Okay. So I'm curious because one of the things we talk about on this podcast is understanding Brownsville as a community and understanding it as a kind of a unique space, even in the context of both Mexico and the United States. It's something altogether its own. What has been your experience since moving here in understanding what this community is like?
Brownsville is unique. I think it's just the border city that is very different than any other city in Texas. Border cities are a mix of the Mexico and the United States, and you grow like a different kind of culture within the United States. You're American, we're Americans, but it's different. It's the border cities. Is many people over here is very much 956. We belong to Brownsville. Everybody is proud of what we have. And I have seen differences. I lived here 28 years ago for 2 years.
Oh, okay.
In Brownsville for work for my husband's job. And it's just
very changed.
Very much a big change. Then I didn't have any children, so I didn't have the experience with kids. But for example, coming downtown, it's just a complete different different environment, different place. It's beautiful now. They have restaurants and places to be. Before it wasn't like that.
Just a lot of stores and commerce, but not necessarily.
It was not very pretty.
What have you learned about our community in terms of education and what maybe it values in that sense?
Many parents, not many parents in the area not necessarily did have the opportunity to do high school or to do college when they were young. And I consider that many people over here believes that education will take the kids far. Education is the step to help the kids grow and get to places that they didn't have the chance to get because of they didn't have the opportunity. So I do believe many parents in the area are looking to have the kids go to schools, go to high schools, and go to college in a way that it wasn't there. They didn't have the chance to do it. It was just as simple as that. There were many cases, there were migrants that were going up and down the United States for times of the year picking up stuff, and they didn't have the chance. So I think many parents are like hopeful that if they give this opportunity to the kids, they will be in a better place than they are or in the future.
I think it's interesting to point that out because it's true. I think a lot of parents here have really high hopes for the opportunity that education can bring to their kids. It's not always the narrative that people talk about from Brownsville. A lot of times, if you look at national news or if you look at other things, it's, well, the parents must not care. That's why their kids aren't doing well, or that's why their scores are low or things are happening. But that's a contrast from what we live and experience every day.
Correct. I think parents here care, and they care a lot.
So talking about how much parents care and that they see this education as a really big opportunity, I'm wondering if you see that reflected within our local schools, within our school district, of parental involvement or engagement, and what that looks like.
I think there's a lot of miscommunication or misinformation. When I moved here in 2019, I did not have a place where I can find all the information I needed. I came from a small town in Minnesota where I had one high school, one middle school, 3 elementary schools. So they were public schools. They were more private, but I always encourage, or I believe in the public education. So I was looking for public. But when you come to Brownsville, there's so many choices. And then you look the ratings in the computer and it's like overwhelming. And then I wanted to go to information and just find out how to put the kids in the right place. And it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy to one thing that I think of Brownsvillians is that they don't understand that not everybody's from here. So if I ask a question, where is the administration building? Where is the office where I need to go? They told me go to the CAP building. And I keep looking at the ladies like, what is the CAP building? And I look up on my phone in the Google and it doesn't nothing.
Show up because it's not the name.
And she just looked at me frustrated. It's like, you need to go to, and I look again and I say, I just moved here a week ago from Minnesota. I have no idea what you're talking about. And she looked at me again and it's in Palm Boulevard. And I look at her again, it's like, yeah, Palm Boulevard is this long street where in Palm Boulevard. So that's one thing that I've seen in Brownsvillians and the school district is we have to open our arms, our minds, that there's not from Brownsville, not from Texas, probably not even from the United States. And we need to be a little more patient and help explain this is what is happening. Okay, where you can probably be helping this office. And this office is in 1317 Palm Boulevard. So we can go. It's just don't give me a name that...
Assuming you would understand.
Correct. This happened everywhere. I mean, you need to go to 802. go 802. And I keep looking at everybody, what is 802?
Because that's not the official name of it.
It's Ruben Torres. But
Yeah.
it took me like 3 years to figure out that 802 was Ruben Torres. But for everybody, it's 802.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody has lived here more than 10 years.
Yes.
And it's just hard. It's like hard when you come to a place where this is so inside the people, the culture, that they don't understand that it's like, okay, stop. I am not from Brownsville. I start again. Just give me a little chance. Explain to me a little more. So it is not easy, but if you find a way, you get a way to do that. I was looking at the webpage of the school district at BISD. When I came in 2019, that was a very unfriendly website. It was just not easy to follow. It was not easy to find stuff. The documents that you needed to upload were under so many
several
weird,
like bullet point tabs.
And different. I mean, they had nothing to do with what I was looking for. And it was like, I was looking at it yesterday and I thought, oh, this is so nice. I haven't explored it yet, but it's a lot more friendly, which I am very happy of, because maybe it's easier to find information there than it was in 2019.
I think it's so you've mentioned a couple of things. This community is very insular, right? It is very much, we're from here, we're proud to be from here, and there's a lot of assumptions made, and this could be a double-edged sword. In one way, it makes the community very tight-knit, very collaborative, very willing to show up and help each other. But in other ways, it means that people that are coming into it are having to do an uphill climb to understand how to navigate, literally, like where do you go and what it is.
Yes.
But also how to navigate the expectations, the norms, the culture, the different things that are happening. You talked about wanting to figure out where to place your kids. Can you talk a little bit more about what you mean by that? Do you mean literally like the schools, the programs, the classes?
They were first the schools, because from what I read in the page, you said that high schools, they were going to be that year starting to be, how do you call that when it's zone? They were zone. So I needed to know where to find the map, where the zone, because I needed to rent a house or buy a house in the zone of. At that point, it was veterans, because it was ranked the best,
the highest out of the
schools. Of the high schools. So that's what I wanted my children to go. But I needed to figure out what was the zone where I needed to buy or rent a house. That was step one. It was just kind of, the zoning for me does not make any sense. You go to Alton Glore, which is where I was looking houses. I was looking more up north in Brownsville. And Alton Glore is one block belongs to veterans and the other block belongs to Los Fresnos.
Correct. And it's actually split across Alton Glore, but that has been rezoned like 3 or 4 times in the past 10 years.
So it was kind of ridiculous for me. It was like, why is this house? Yeah. It was to a point that I was looking for a house 2 blocks from Stillman in that point. And it belonged to Los Fresnos. It did not belong to veterans. And physically, you walk or drive 2 blocks versus going from there to Los Fresnos. So that was one first step. And the person in charge then in the pupil department that I went and talked to was not happy of me asking, okay, can you help me with these? I'm trying to rent a house. Where should I? And it was not important to him, because he said that I could figure out a way to put my child in high school, even if I wasn't zoned to it. But that was not something that I wanted to do. Why would you tell me that if it was zoned and then you tell me there's ways?
That's like mixed information.
Correct. So it was just kind of like, that was my first thing. Second, my daughter went to middle school and we came with transcripts from her middle school in Minnesota. And they put her in the lowest level of math, which she was not in the lowest level. She started school. I'm a very present parent. I will go to every meeting, I would try to be in every meeting, meet the teacher, and she came home and she said, Mom, so I print out the syllabus, and yeah, she had done that 2 years before. So I went in and talked, and I say, would you please help me with these? And the counselor at that time told me that they needed to take a test, that they took a test in May, the prior year, to be able to take the honors math. And I look at her and I said, we were not here in May. We moved in July. Can you just give her the test and put her in the correct
class? And
I was told that the district did not allow that. And I just kind of like, but this is not fair for the new kids. Mm-hmm. So I had to talked to the principal of the school. He said that we needed to talk to the person in the district in charge of curriculum, which for me doesn't make any sense. The school should have somebody in charge of curriculum, and that person should be in charge of taking the decisions for the middle school. But this is the way. And we went all the way to, and I had to send syllabus, and I have to make a change of a class. They already came. I already had the proof that she had the class. Why?
And that she'd done well in it. And
correct.
Everything.
Why not take this information or give her the test? For me, the easiest way was, okay, we needed a test to go to math honors. Sit down and have the test. If you pass it, you are in the math honor. If you don't pass it, you're staying. So that was for me frustrating. That was difficult for my daughter. She was moving from one school to another one. We're having
already experiencing a lot of changes,
and it was horrible. Then they changed her from the class like maybe a week and a half later, which screwed up all her schedule, and she had to change all of her classes, which makes the beginning of the grade super, super hard.
Yeah.
And then again, it came to the next step when we went to the high school. I fought for that class because it was my heart saying fight for it. But when we went to the high school, which nobody informed us in the middle school, not the counselor or the curriculum person or anything. If she would not have taken that class, she was not allowed to be in any of the academies or take the highest class.
Advanced programs that they offer.
At all. Why would you put a child who comes from another district or another state in disadvantage without knowing what is their level?
Yeah. And it's hard because it's not even just new students to the district. This information isn't communicated clearly in general.
I don't think I find out that until I was in the high school. So nothing in the middle school, which it should be informed in the beginning in the beginning of the middle school. It should be informed. If your child wants to get to the advanced classes, this is gonna be
the trajectory that they need to follow.
Correct.
And it's so specifically for math, it's so important because we're also seeing that colleges now are requiring calculus, for example. And what we've seen with some students is because they didn't take the advanced class in 8th grade, they cannot catch up to that level because of the sequencing of the courses. And they get to senior year, they want to take this advanced class because they realize they need it now for college or they need it now for something else, and they can't do it. And I've even seen in some cases, not necessarily at BISD, but students will ask, well, can I double up on a math, right? Can I take the first semester, the junior year class, second semester, senior year to catch up? No. It's like, why are you putting all of these stops and all of these difficult like roadblocks for students when they're trying to excel and they're trying to take advantage of these opportunities?
And then again, I don't understand why can you take a test to
placement
test. I know it's probably an extra work, but it's a lot easier for the student. The student will, with a test, if you don't pass the test, there's no, it's not anybody's fault. It's the way it is. You didn't pass the test, you're not prepared for the class. So it's not that, the curriculum guy did not help me or my teacher was not. It's just a test. And how long does it take a test? Just let them stay after school for an hour, take the test. If you pass, you're in. If you didn't pass, you're not.
And they do it in other states. I know for sure in New Jersey, one of the school districts I've had the ability to observe, they allow students to fast track math, right? By doing that, by taking the test. So it's possible. We have models. I think it may just be something that our school district has not adopted and doesn't understand the importance and how much easier and how much time it would save.
But it's not only in the classes.
Mm-hmm.
Getting into a sport when you're in middle school in BISD, you have to have your tryouts in May.
Mm-hmm.
What the heck happened with the kids that come to the district in July or August?
Yeah.
And the answer is, all tryouts were in May. We don't have
There's
any
no
more
alternative.
space. There's no more space. We had, and it's like, I'm sorry, I was not in the district in May.
Yeah.
Why don't you give my tryouts to my daughter and
when she arrives?
It's a no. It's a very no, which is, it was very frustrating. We had to kind of adopt, kind of figure out. I try not to give up, and I try my kids not to give up. I make them keep trying, or we became flexible and changed sports or changed and did something different. But it is, as a parent who has gone to different schools in the United States and outside the United States, this was the hardest to
navigate
because of this hard nose. It's not done like this. Okay, it's not done like this. It's okay. But we were not physically here in May. It needs to be a way for my daughter to be able to take the test. Why would you give a hard no without, okay, let me figure it out.
Alternatives.
It's not, I cannot do it by myself, but let's talk to this person, or let's do, and it's just, that was very, very, very hard.
Yeah, I think we do it this way, and so we're just going to tell you that that's how it's done and give you no alternative, give you no other route, and the lack of consideration for the fact that there's going to be, for whatever reason, the kid was sick in May or something else happened. This is not something that's uncommon. It's also not uncommon in our community. We have newcomers all the time.
Correct.
It should be something that's figured out. I appreciate you saying that you learned to be flexible. I wish that wasn't the solution to this. But I'm wondering what you found helped you understand the system or helped you feel like you could navigate it a little bit better.
Okay, I'm good making friends, and I love to be part of the community. I always find a place to volunteer to. I take the kids to, first thing we do, or most of the time, wherever we have gone, is go to the library. That's our first stop for us to get new library card and just kind of see what things are around. I was lucky enough that the person who was renting me the house that we were living in when we moved, I asked him and I said, would you help me with it? And he looked at me and said, no, I have no babies, no kids yet, so I don't know. But let me introduce you to a friend who has children, and she will help you a little bit with the questions. So I just keep asking parents that I met in coffee shops, keep asking people, what do you have kids in BISD? It's like, how do we do? My kids are swimmers. How is there any club of swimming? So asking, I never stop asking. I'm never being embarrassed of asking. My thought is, the worst they can tell you is no. You don't lose anything asking. So that's something that I will recommend my kids and my friends, is like, just ask. Nothing wrong with asking. You probably get a ugly face or a no, but that's it.
Worst case scenario.
Yes. So that's it. So I have found many people in Brownsville willing to help. I do recommend the parents, if they have a chance. I know they're working parents, and I know it's super hard. The schedules are super difficult, but I learned a lot by going to the parents' meetings in the schools, which are the worst time ever, because our Wednesdays from 9 to 11, and they do it online. I mean, they send the video and you can watch it later, but it's not as the same as being there to be able to ask questions. But you get to learn the information that you don't get when you go to an office to ask the questions through those parents' meetings. Because those parents will inform you the things that they have learned.
It's crowdsourcing knowledge.
Correct. Which it should not be like that. But that's the way Brownsville has worked for me.
So it's asking for help and not being afraid to get those no's or get those answers. Crowdsourcing from other parents,
Yes.
from people who have gone through the process, and being as involved in the school as you can be given the schedules and the difficulties.
Correct.
I think all of those are really helpful, I think, for other parents to hear of this is what it requires if you want to really make sure that your student is getting as much support as they can be, or as much opportunity as they deserve. I'm wondering, just to kind of get a bigger picture, is this something that you learned here through living here? Or is this something that you've already had as part of your value system of this is just how you navigate the world?
Because of my husband's job, we have moved a lot, and I moved from Ecuador to the United States, so I have to adapt. I have no family around me. I don't have my mom, my aunts, anybody to give me a hand. So the only way, you need a village to raise children. You need a village to go forward. My village is always my friends, the friends that I made, and the only way they know you need help is asking. So the asking comes from always.
From adapting.
The crowdsourcing is here.
Okay.
I think I have gone to many districts in Minnesota, and I have gone in the Netherlands, and I will go one-stop shop, and I will get the information that I needed for all the schools, for the kids, for all the, okay, I have one in elementary school. What do I need? What this information? I want them to go to the highest classes. Okay, they need to take a test. They don't need to take a test. They cannot take this class. You need to pay in the Netherlands, I wanted them to learn Dutch, and the school was not offering Dutch, but you can pay your teacher to teach you Dutch over here, and as long as they pass this test after the teacher, we can put them in the class for Dutch. But they gave me all the information in one-stop shop. I mean, in one place. Over here, it doesn't work like that.
It's not centralized.
No, which it should be. It should be. Again, we should be able, as parents, we should be able to go to one place where they will not only register my kids, they will give me information of this. If this honor class, if you want your child to go to the advanced, you need to start right here.
I actually don't know this, but I wonder if it's not centralized because they don't necessarily have that written down anywhere. Or if, I wonder if even within the schools, right, this is a process that is unfamiliar even to them because it is so big a district. There are so many different steps and offices and things that maybe the process is even unclear to the people within it, right? Even the people working within it. I did notice the website update. It is a lot easier to find things, so I'm hoping that has fixed a few.
I haven't given me the time to just go and play.
Yes,
but just the first, when you open, it's like, ooh, this is a lot easier.
Yeah. So for context, I think what they've done is there's now a central BISD site, and within that you can navigate to all of the different schools, and so they all have the same layout. They all have the same information on it, because it used to be that I think every high school used to create their own site or decide what was on it, and so they all looked different and had different information. So I think now it's supposed to be more streamlined, so hopefully that's helped. But again, I think it's going to be parents trying it, giving feedback, and then hopefully the district listening to adjust it and adapt it to what it needs to be. I want to pivot a little bit because I want to learn more about your perspective on education more generally. Right. So I know you're from Ecuador originally, and you talked about the degrees that you have and kind of your profession. What was the idea or the value around education in your family, and what do you share with your kids?
Okay. I come from a very... my family they were politicians. My mom was... my grandfather was the governor of one of states in Ecuador. My great grandfather. My grandfather was el prefecto. I don't know how you say that. Prefect in the same one. And my mom was a politician. She was in the government, and education was not a choice. It was something that you grew up knowing that you were gonna do. I was in a Catholic school, small school. Public education in Ecuador is different than the United States. So public schools are overcrowded and they don't get the funding, and they don't get, they get wonderful teachers, but it's not like in the United States. You don't get any extra activities with public schools in Ecuador. It's pretty much go take your math, English, writing, and that's it. So we were never looking into public education in Ecuador for us. We were all private school. Mine was a Catholic nun school, which I love very, very much. And when I graduated, I came as exchange student for a year to North Carolina.
Okay.
Just
for the experience.
I wanted to do something different.
Yeah.
So I did not, and I quote, I took English all my high school, which in Ecuador were 6 years.
Okay.
I could not speak a word when I came to the United States.
As an exchange student?
I came to North Carolina, where there was not even a Spanish class.
Okay.
So my American mom, who is American, used the dictionary, and I used my dictionary, and we pinpointed out words. When there are words to communicate.
That's a process.
And there was not a Spanish teacher to help me. I had a French teacher to help me a little bit in school, but there was not a Spanish teacher. So it was a eye opener, because I thought I knew English or some. But it was all written. I know how to write in English. I know all the rules in grammar. But
it's different.
Spoken was a complete different story.
And you went to a place with an accent and a dialect.
Correct. Which I didn't know. I didn't know they had an accent. And that's the English that I learned.
Oh.
That's the English that I learned. I learned to speak the way they spoke in North Carolina. So I had the accent. When you heard me speaking English, I didn't know they had an accent. It was my aunt who lived in California who used to call us like, "Oh, honey, you have a very strong accent." I was like, "Oh, do I?" Like, okay. But no, I didn't know. I didn't know. And the accent gives me such a comfort when my mom talks to me, my American mom talks to me. It's like, "Sophie." It's like, "Oh, this is so nice." But I didn't know. it was
accents
different.
are one of those things you don't know you have until someone else points it out.
Correct. So, but I came and then I left. I came back to Ecuador after doing again I did 12th grade twice.
Okay.
So I did 12th grade, finished my high school in Ecuador, and came back, did 12th grade in North Carolina, and I got my diploma in North Carolina too. I passed all my classes. They put me in the lowest English class, but I had to study Macbeth and
Shakespeare.
And it was that's the one thing that is stuck in my head, because there were no words. I couldn't use a dictionary.
No, because it's all Old English.
Correct. So
and I assume you didn't have the modern version.
Macbeth is not something that I will ever look again. No one even talked about it was the hardest class ever because I could not use my dictionary.
Yeah. It's so funny because I think every year of high school you're supposed to do a Shakespeare novel. So there are different ones each year. But I think it's one of the things that turns people away from English and reading, because it is so hard, because it's not even the English that we speak now.
Correct.
And in some schools, they'll do the translation into even modern English, which is funny. It's like you have the Old English and then the modern English on the other page. But not everyone does. And I think it is hard.
I had a wonderful English teacher. We spent many hours together because I could not understand a thing of what I was trying to read.
Yeah, it's rough.
So, and that one, and they put me in U.S. history instead of world history. And things that for the kids were normal, they grew up here. For me, were like, I never heard of Martin, or probably did, but I just never gave it the
same
weight.
Importance.
Martin Luther King, for example, in North Carolina, right? And I was like, huh?
You had a year of a lot of...
Yes, but it was a great experience. I love it. I was grateful to come. So I came back home, and my mom wanted me to go to the Catholic University, La Universidad Católica. And I knew I wanted to study business, but I didn't want to go to that university. I came to the United States, and in that university, what the professor says, what you say, okay. There's no discussion. There's not, And that's not what I wanted. So I wanted to go to the other university. And my house, the rules were, or you work or you study. You don't live here for free. So I went and I found myself a job.
Okay.
With my mom's contacts, my parents' contacts, but I found me as a, my daddy's in the table and say, okay, you don't wanna study, it's fine with me, but you're not,
Because you couldn't go to that other university?
because I went and did my exam to enter. I didn't want to go there, so I just signed my name and I walked out because I did not want to go to that university.
Okay, so what was that job?
I was the hostess in a hotel. I work in a hotel for the most expensive hotel in Quito at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And what I did is just receive new customers, new clients, and just show them where the stuff was and just welcome them to the hotel.
A lot of customer service.
But it was good. I got a job. That was the only condition that I had. I needed to have a job. So I got a job. And then I convinced my mom to let me go to the university, which it was with credits like the United States. It's called Universidad de San Francisco de Quito. And I ended up going to that one after the year.
After the year.
Yeah, I convinced my mom. I changed her mind.
Why didn't your mom want you to go?
She went to Universidad Católica and she did not believe in the way the United States universities did their
okay.
The way that because this is my university in Ecuador was based to the same way the United States universities do. You pick your classes, you have certain amount of credits that you need to comply to go to the next level and stuff. In Ecuador, you go into business and everything is set. These are the classes that you need to take for the first year. These are the classes for the second, third, fourth. You don't even pick your teachers. So it's pretty much set.
Yeah.
This is what you get and period.
This is so foreign to me, literally. I think this is something that a lot of our students experience also with their parents, because you got to live it kind of firsthand in Ecuador. But for example, my parents went to school in Mexico, and I think it's a similar process of you have 4 careers to choose from, and then once you pick that one, pretty much everything's set. I know my parents used to say they took classes with the same group of people the entire time.
Yes.
And when I was trying to explain to them how American college works and that it doesn't really matter what my major is, I'll pick later and I'll figure out my classes.
It doesn't make any sense.
It took, I think, until my brother graduated from college, and I'm the oldest. So I graduated in 2018. My brother graduated in 2021. And I think it took them that entire time to understand what a major and a minor were.
Correct.
And how the system works. And I think I don't think they know what I majored in. I think it's so confusing.
But that's how I feel about high school. Coming from a high school in Ecuador and sending the kids to a high school in the United States is a complete different. In Ecuador, you have choices. You can go to física, matemático, químico, biólogo, or secretariado. That was the choices that you can go in high school. And you keep your same friends, same classes, same all the 4 years.
It's very
6 years of
structured.
high school. 6 years of high school. So you continue with the same people, you don't have the choices that you move from one class to another. So with my oldest in Minnesota, I went to the counselor and I sit down with him and I introduce myself and I say, okay, I'm from Ecuador. I have no idea how this works.
The system.
I can be we need to make this child succeed. I'm gonna be the mom. I will give you all the support, but you're gonna be the one over here guiding us. And I'll talk about my daughter and me, guiding us how to manage this. I have no idea what I'm doing. I don't know how to advise her because this is not the way
that you experienced it.
I learned. So it's you're the one who's gonna be guiding me to what to do. And he did. He was an spectacular counselor. She actually ended up being a valedictorian because of him.
Can you tell us that story?
She was top 3 in her junior year, and she had picked, I think Chinese is what the language she was taking. And Chinese is a 4 points. And she was not gonna be in the top 3. And he knew how hard she can work, how smart she was, and he said, we walked in to pick up her schedule, and she opened her schedule and she had chemistry. And she was like, huh? And she was so mad. We walked into the counselor's office, and she said, why do I have chemistry? I didn't take the prerequisite. I cannot take this. And he said, yes, you can. And he sit down with us, and he said, you're I think she was number 2 or number 1 then. You're not going to be valedictorian if you take Chinese, because it weighs only 4. Mm-hmm. You need to take this because it's very, very little difference between you number 2 and number 3. So it's chemistry, or you won't be. Do you want to be valedictorian? And she looks, yes, I do. And he said, okay, then you need to take. But I did not take the class before. And he said, I already talked to the teacher, and I already signed you off. I gave you permit. I talked to the teacher. She gave you permission, and she took chemistry. She walked into the chemistry class, everybody was afraid of that teacher. Everybody. She walked into the chemistry class, and she came home crying, and she told me that I was gonna drop the class the first 2 weeks. And I have a child who, when they tell her no, is when she pushes the harder. Mm-hmm. So the teachers say no, and she studied for months with my husband, catching up with my husband and other friends. They used to come in the afternoon catching up, and she ended up being valedictorian. But I gave the credit, obviously, to my daughter because she studied very, very hard, but to that counselor who knew what she needed to take to be able to make it there.
And who in some way forced it because he knew that was a decision that had to be taken. Mm-hmm. I think this is something else that parents here don't understand all the time. The point system of classes and the weighted and unweighted GPA, it's so specific to the United States. I don't think this is something that is necessarily done elsewhere.
Not in Ecuador.
And for context for parents, there are different levels of classes. So not only can you be in an honors class or an AP class or a dual enrollment class, but those classes are all weighed differently because they require different levels of effort from students. So for example, if your student is in a regular math class, they're following the prescribed sequence for the Texas high school diploma. That class, and they earn 100 on it, is very different than taking AP calculus and earning 100 there. And so to make up for that difference in the levels of classes, Texas is the one I'm most familiar with, but they've devised this point system where, for example, AP classes give you an extra 20 points on your GPA, and dual enrollment gives you an extra 15. And
if you pass the AP exam, you
get even more credit. And all of that is math done to your transcript so that the grade you see in your class is not the only thing that matters for things like school rankings. It's also the difficulty of the class. And in theory, this is supposed to help make sure that things are equitable for students so that if you're in all advanced classes, maybe you're not getting easy hundreds in them because they're harder, tougher courses, but you are also complicating the system for people who don't understand it.
I was going to say, but that I understood that because I have my older two going through that. Mm-hmm. But with the first one, I had no clue what he was talking about.
Mm-hmm. And it's important to have those people who will sit down and say calmly, this is what it is. We understand that it's complicated. We understand that it's difficult. But it's important to understand it if you want to understand what classes to take, the difference between, we've had some students come to us through this work. We always welcome them to share their schedule with us so we know what they're taking. Should I take this class or this class, right? And making those decisions depends on, a 90 in a regular class versus an 85 in an AP, take the AP. But if this is going to be a more significant difference, now we have to do math, right? And now we have to figure out what's actually going to be worth it for you based on your strengths, your skills, your ability. And that counselor, what they did was look at your daughter, understand that, and then tell you this is what you have to do.
He did tell me at some point, he said, you opened the door for me to do this. Because I walked in the first day and I said, I have no clue what this is. You are going to be the one helping me because I don't understand. So in the end, he told me in some point of our conversations, he said, you opened the door for me to do this because you said I'm allowed to help you. So that's something that we need to trust. Many families here relate a lot with the sports. When you put your child in a sport, football, you need to trust the coach. It probably, you don't understand what the coach is why the coach is not doing whatever you think he needs to be doing for, but you need to trust the coach. I think we need to get to build a relationship with the counselor in the school. That should be your coach. The counselor should be the one who helps you as a parent and your child, who should be also involved. This is not only, it doesn't happen just because things are not given to you. You ask for the things. You go and look for them. And that's a lot here. You need to look for the things that you want. They won't give it to you. They won't give you the information. You have to look for the information. You have to look. And your counselor should be as the coach of a sport. She should be the one trying to support your child's career to the best way she can or he can.
It's a little hard, and I know some counselors. I've worked in schools, because the other thing that happens is, at least with a coach in sports, you have continuity. Usually the coach stays for several years with the same team, and they're building a program. And I wish that they gave that to our counselors as well, because what we see is usually there's a counselor for 9th grade and a counselor for 10th grade and a counselor for 11th grade.
PSD, at least veterans, sets you with the same counselor from June 9, 10, 11. They travel with you.
That's different. I think other high schools do it different.
Veterans travels, the counselor travels with you. She starts with your child in freshman, and she finished with them in senior year.
And that's helpful, right? Because they're going to be they're more so than teachers. They're going to be the one that is seeing the student grow through all of the stages and making sure that, well, you know, you have a different English teacher this year, but your counselor still knows your ability to write, or your counselor still knows your ability to push through challenges. It's not, I don't think it's the same in every, I think schools get some.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
But it is something where if you can have that relationship and you can trust that counselor, it's really helpful.
But then again, people like them, they deal with hundreds of kids. That counselor is in charge of hundreds of kids. No.
Yeah, the ratio is like 300 to 1.
Hundreds of kids. So be patient, be polite, go and make an appointment and send an email and said, may I have an appointment with you? I would like to talk with you about my kid's schedule. And be nice and ask, do you think it's okay? I was freaking out a little because Masi is taking AP. My youngest is Masi. AP all. And I was like, so I went to her and I say, okay, do you think? And she just looked at me, he is capable of doing this. He can do it. I was like, okay. It's just like, and I trust Masi, my son too, but it's just kind of like,
I was gonna say, this is also a process where students can be involved. My dad and my mom helped a little bit when it came to high school in terms of picking classes. But for the most part, my dad's philosophy was, you make decisions for yourself because you need to learn that skill of decision making. And so I was always told, you know, todo lo bien o todo lo malo que hagas es para ti. And so you have to advocate, you have to figure it out. So I had a standing appointment with my counselor where every semester, at the beginning of the semester, I was like, this is my plan. This is what I'm taking. What else do I need to do? And students can also do that. Students can be in those meetings.
Masi does too. It's not only me. I go for my calmness, for me. I need to. My son is so much involved with the counselors. Just goes and asks, and this needs to be done. How can we do? She will give me the answers that I don't get somewhere else. We needed to go on a trip, and Masi was taking exams during the trip, and how can I make this work? I needed to pick him up. He was somewhere and I needed to pick him up, and I don't know, Austin maybe. And she was the one who say, okay, this is the person who needs to sign the papers for the coach to take with, because he needs to, you cannot just take him out because, but I feel like the relationships don't grow if you don't make them grow. So this is not one visit once a year or one visit once in 4 years.
It's
this
a continuous
relationship. Your child, the student, the parent has to be supporting the child and the counselor.
Yeah, it's definitely a two-way street. Sometimes a three-way if you're counting, the student, the parent, and the counselor. But it's one of the most important relationships you can build within the school because they do dictate so much and they can help with a lot. I'm going to pivot a little bit. These are some of the questions that we ask our students when they first join us. So Masi is one of our students who recently began. Yes. He had to answer this. And the question is, how do you define progress?
For me, progress is just getting somewhere, setting a goal, getting to a place. It could be little by little, it could be fast, but you need to. It's the process of getting somewhere. Okay. I want the goal to graduate from high school. I need to follow these steps to my progress should be like this in order to make it there. I want to be number one. This is a different progress, a different steps that I need to just to graduate high school. It's just the process of getting somewhere, the goal that you set.
I like the emphasis on it doesn't have to be fast. It can be slow. It's just moving towards that goal. I think that's very important to emphasize that the speed doesn't really matter as long as you're working toward it.
Every day. I think it's just
hopefully.
I mean, it's just reading a book. For me, that's growing. Progress is kind of like growing to be better.
Growing in a direction.
It's growing.
Yes, I think definitely no matter the speed, as long as you are putting in the work and you're doing something to get you towards that, then that is a good definition of progress. What gives you hope right now?
Right now, I think it's become hard with all the news everywhere, not in the United States only, in the world. There is so much hate in people and everything. It's just, I get up in the morning and just look at the skies. We live in a beautiful place. I complain about the weather a lot because it's hot, but it's beautiful. The South Texas is beautiful. You have a beautiful sky. You're close to the beach. You have beautiful people. So every morning I get up and I just look at the sky and I thought, okay, this is a beautiful day. I'm alive. I have everything and more than what I need. That's my hope. Just that. And I do volunteering on Fridays, feeding my homeless and Good Neighbor. And every Friday that I go, I come recharge. The kids said that's my mommy's recharging time. Because for me, giving a little time of me for people that needs more than I do, and those people noticing me and just giving me blessings and saying thank you fills my heart and fills my week. I get out of sweaty and hot, but I was happy. So that's hope. Seeing people being grateful for what they get and people that is willing to help other people.
It's community, right? It's being in that space, acknowledging the place that we live in, acknowledging the people in it, and being grateful for all that we have in it and all that we can give in it as well.
All of it.
That's beautiful. The closing for this episode, because I think this is really important, is if you could share a message with parents, what would you want them to know?
I just keep trying. Keep asking questions. Go to if one person gives you the look and the no ma'am, don't give up. Just keep going. You have to think that is your child that you're fighting for. So don't stop fighting. Just go and keep asking questions. If that person say no or didn't want to give you, go to the next one and keep asking questions. Just don't stop. You'll find an answer. You will find somebody that is willing to help you.
I love the message of don't stop trying, because I think it's resilience, and it's something that's really important everywhere, but especially in our context, especially with all the challenges that some of our families are going to face. So thank you so much for sharing that. Thank you for being with us
Thank you
today.
for having me.
We like to end our episodes by making sure that people have something inspiring or hopeful. So I think that message was definitely inspiring and hopeful to me. Something practical to do. So I think, because of the topic of this episode, go and set up a meeting with your counselor. Send them an email. They're probably busy if it's the start of the school year, but be patient and make sure that you introduce yourselves and have at least that start of a relationship going, so that when you need something, you know where to go and you know where to look. And then, as far as something to share with others, share this episode, share this podcast, share Sofia's wonderful message to parents, and look out for our next episode. Thank you all so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you all so much for watching this podcast and following along with us. If you really liked it, please feel free to subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, anywhere that you might be listening to this. And if you want more information about the work that we do, you can go to realprogress.org, or you can follow us on socials at Real Progress.